Old business. Riverwalk. Justin, Jerry, you want to talk about the Riverwalk and that meeting we had?
Sure. We had a meeting, and I can't remember the date. It was in the end of April with DOT, with Charlie Roy and the engineer for the Riverwalk to discuss the amount that the Riverwalk was going to cost. And the last cost estimate that we had was $1,151,462.09. So we went over the whole thing and things that we could take out, things that we could change, just kind of discuss what the village wanted to get the cost down. And it was a very productive meeting, and the new figure that we have is, and that was without the engineer's fee. This is also without the engineer's fee, $809,180.27. And that's also with a contingency that we might not use all of, at $134,863.38. So we're back in the original budget.
Well in budget.
Right, where we wanted to be, with all the changes that were made. So, which is a good thing.
Well, how much is the engineering fees that aren't included in that number? Didn't you just say that they're not included?
No, they're not, and they were 120. Do you remember or no?
I'm thinking it was 226 for that.
Okay, 226.
Which will be increased because he's done so many scope changes.
Right. But even
That included a contingency as well, I believe.
right, and even with that, we're still coming in. We'd still be under the original budget of 1.13 million.
Yep.
So around 226,000 for the engineering fees, which will be increased because of the scope change.
And we knocked out 20,000 again today.
Yes. By making another change.
So we're looking at just over $1 million for the project right now.
Well, originally, what I gathered, when it was initially, when the grant was put in, the village part was what, 227 or something like that anyhow, right?
I think it was about 226,000.
And that was from donation, like the hospital was going to donate and the historical society. Well, obviously you can't, it's no good unless you sell it and get money for it, right? I mean, there's just no way that would have, that's realistic in any way, shape, or form as a, as a village contribution. Right?
What was the hospital and the historical society?
They were going to give the right with the property and the water rights out front, which I'm sure they wouldn't do. I mean, I don't.
The hospital's still giving us
A right away.
the right of way.
But I'm talking about the grant was written up. The village portion of 200 something was going to be land from both the historical society and waterfront and underwater rights. And I mean, yes, they're going to use it, but they use that part as the money part of our village to make it lower.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you can't, unless you want to sell that, you don't have any money for it, you just,
No.
So that was always going to be an extra money from the village, it really wasn't.
The way it works, Kay, is every bill that comes in, the state pays 80% of. And we,
Up to $960, right, up to.
up to $926,000. So every bill that comes in, they pay 80%, we have to pay the other 20%. So whether the project comes in at 1.3 million, 1 million, or 800,000, it's going to cost us 20%.
Right, but if it goes over what you just said, they stop at 960, say it's 200,000 over that, that's still what? That's still the village's money.
Right.
They're done at that certain point, right?
When they've spent their
Now
$926,000,
you're up on your own village.
then we're on our own, and that's why we cut the project down to get the cost down, so we're well within our budget.
But you didn't really get it down because this is where we started.
Well, it's down from where
We were at 1.4 at one point.
without the engineering fees. We were trying to get it back down to where we started, where people were, or seemingly people were comfortable with it. Nobody had an issue with it until it was well over $1 million because we changed the scope and went out over the water. So our goal was to keep that scope of the Riverwalk going out over the water, but get the project back into budget where people seemed comfortable with what the,
I understand all that, but how exactly did you get it down? You went up about 200,000 or 300,000. How did you get it back down again, though? By doing
We
what?
did away with the pavers, we're gonna go with a concrete walk.
Okay.
took out benches, took out,
I mean, they were costing, what, for benches?
they had $12,000 in benches,
At $2,000 a piece.
$36
$2,000 benches.
$36,000 in kiosks, $12,000 in exhibit panels. They had engineers' offices at $21,000, lighting at $50,000. They were
So,
gonna,
well, you still have to have lighting.
right, and we will,
Okay. What?
but not at the $250,000. That's something
But are
that,
they still gonna do it? I mean, we're not gonna wing it on our own, you know, you've gotta have everything done when they do it, right? The lighting.
right,
We've got to meet the minimums for the state to approve this.
Including lighting and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Certain amount of signs, benches, we can do on our own. We don't have to spend $2,000 for benches each. The benches we have on the docks cost us $400 and some, and they work fine. So by us taking over some of the project, we can save a lot of money.
And you were taking over 200,000, got it back down to that, right? All the little stuff.
well, not all the little stuff. I mean, we can go through,
No, well, you don't have to do that. I would like to look at it sometime. But you know,
absolutely.
don't
I
go
could sit
over
down and go through the whole thing with you.
that. Yep, don't waste time now. I got
Okay.
one. Okay, thank you.